everyone. If you could see what was going on in the background here, I am being instructed beyond belief. So if you haven't met Michelle yet, she is the powerhouse behind everything we do on this event platform, and I'm under strict instructions. So Sam, I'm going to get you to turn your computer on and come and join your screen on and come and join me on the stage. Do you know, I'm just going to show my age here for you, Sam. I met the founders of PageUp back in 1998 when
There you
they
go.
were pretty much just starting out. And I was trying to decide between them and Taleo and something that no longer exists or has been subsumed by something. And I unfortunately went with Taleo, but at the time,
I was going to ask, are we going to get to the decision you made? Okay.
And yeah, let's not talk about that, because goodness knows these days I wouldn't even look twice at Taleo. I'm not even sure if it exists in that format anymore. I've forgotten. So there we go. That's how old I am, Sam. So we asked PageUp, of course, with their, as I said, their brilliant new recruitment marketing platform as well, that as part of their ATS offering, it offers a fantastic end-to-end solution for your recruiting needs. So I do encourage you to take a look at it. And that is not a paid advertisement. That is just because when I love a piece of tech, I love a piece of tech. Now, so our very gorgeous Sam that's joined here today has a foundation in recruitment marketing and employer branding, and he's absolutely passionate about crafting messages, content, and strategy. You work, I believe, as a pre-sales consultant.
That's correct, yes.
So if you are looking at it, you will get to speak to the lovely Sam as well. I have to stop calling. I'm starting to sound old, aren't I? Calling everyone lovely and beautiful. So
not at all.
I'm going to take us through today the anatomy of a great career site. And I'm actually working on a project with someone else at the moment around career sites. And it's amazing how much we don't have in a career site. And yeah, I'm really, really keen to see this one. So I'm going to shut off and turn myself off and
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Andrea, and fantastic to be here today. Just even looking at the lineup today of some of the workshops and speakers that are coming through, it's all very understandably complementary. Looking a lot at content, at job ads, employer branding, and much more across the course of the day. But what we're really going to focus in on here at this point is how are you getting those messages, those value propositions to the right people at the right time. So every careers site, whether we like it or not, every careers site tells a story. And if you can craft one that's truly unique, you'll deliver a candidate experience that does provide that lasting impression, and you're going to be top of mind when it counts in that candidate's job-seeking journey. So we're going to focus in on some specific methods and techniques to showcase the people, the practices, the core values and belief, the culture and value propositions specific to your organization. So it's methods and techniques to showcase those. And this doesn't just set you apart from talent competitors. It ensures that your company is top of mind at that moment of truth when a candidate is thinking about their options at that point that is right for them. I should add, we're going to be focusing on these. A lot of the examples are around external careers today, and often when we think about employer branding and recruitment marketing, our mind goes to the external, to the what is the shop front we're putting out there. But it is equally, and particularly in the last 18 months, applicable to internal talent mobility, internal audiences, and indeed ex-employees. And I'm talking about alumni there. So we'll touch on some examples, but all of these techniques can be applied across all of these cohorts. So no matter the nature of your hiring in the organization today, and it's quite varied in our current global environment, no matter the nature of that hiring, from significant reduction in workforces and needing to focus on alumni perhaps, through to opening back up and rapid expansion. Your career site is that storefront to that potential talent. So it gives you the ability to build that relationship early. When we think about career sites, often historically it's been a listing of job ads for a lot of organizations, and it's about starting to think about it more as a marketer, more as a long game, rather than that post and pray, post heaps of volume of jobs and have to pay for those eyeballs every time that we're posting those jobs. So it's about being there, building the relationship, and being top of mind when it counts. So you need to be thinking about how that brand, as I said, a lot of the sessions today are covering off more of the content and the brand strategy and how important that is, how that's showcased on your site. A few questions you might want to be thinking about at this point: what's the state of our brand? Do we have an employment value proposition defined? Do we understand our critical and target talent segments? Now, I would wager that you know what they are. I talk to a lot of recruiters and folks in talent acquisition, and they can rattle off hard to fill or volume roles off the top of their head. So you know the pain, but it's how do we understand the behaviors of that talent segment and then communicate to them in the right manner that's going to connect with that audience? And are we using the information that we know to craft those messages? So we're going to walk through, as you can see depicted on the slide here on screen, we're going to walk through some key components of careers sites today and what makes a great careers site. We're also going to have a few polls as we go. So in the Q&A section, which is just, you might be on chat at the moment on the right of your screen, then it has a Q&A off to the right there in one of those other tabs. We'll be popping up a few polls as we go. I'll call those out, and we'll talk briefly about the voting that's going on there, just so you get an insight as to the state of play in some areas. But before we get into that detail, go through each of these areas and ultimately go through a bit of a DIY step-by-step at the end of our session today, let's have a look at what leading organizations are doing. So whether you're in the early stages of improving your attraction and sourcing approach, or you're revisiting, your careers site is a critical key place to start. It gives you that window into culture and brand in the organization as potential talent. And if you go into a careers site that's engaging and modern, we've all done it, the content's fresh, insightful, there's short videos, it recommends blogs or content to me automatically, that's a pretty compelling experience. It provides this positive experience and light on our brand, where talent can then project themselves in that environment and see them working in your organization. And investing in this experience that I just described, that's important. Returning visitors to a careers site, you can see the stat here on screen, are 4 times more likely to get hired than people who apply on the first visit. So return visitors are highly valuable. Okay, we know that from the data. So they've self-qualified themselves in, they like what they see, and they're motivated and want to work in that organization. Now, on the flip side, that's utopia. On the flip side, if you think about career sites that feel clunky, it's hard to find information, it's pretty static, it's outdated, or worse, it's just a listing of jobs. It doesn't, if there's not the right job right there for me, and as I said, if it's not right for me, I'm not going to revisit because there's nothing else for me to do there. I'm going to go back to that competitor listing of job ads that I came from on a search engine. Then it's not leaving me with that great experience and perception. So we're missing an opportunity. So the first of our polls, I said we'd be doing this, and here we are. Slide 2, we're straight into it. It'd be interesting to understand from the audience who looks after your careers site. So we will pop those up. We've got a couple of options to choose from here. So the team are going to pop I think 3 response options in the Q&A section, and you can upvote those 3 that are most relevant for you. and we'll come back and revisit that. So jumping across to the Q&A section, feel free to vote on those. And here I'm not talking about job listings. It's important to note I'm talking about the entire careers site, about us, diversity and inclusion, our employer value proposition outside of just our jobs. Jobs are critical. We're going to talk about that shortly, but the whole careers experience. So leading the way there, just as a quick synopsis, it's pretty clear that HR talent team is responsible for our careers site, which is fantastic. Having that ownership, we do see a balance of organisations where marketing is also, or there's kind of shared custody and ownership and a partnership with marketing on the careers site. But fantastic to see that there's a vast majority that the HR or talent team are responsible for that. That's great. It's also great to have the technology that empowers HR and talent to manage those and be dynamic with their careers site content. Notably, Employment Brand Manager is lagging behind as the third option, the least common with our poll today. That is also pretty consistent with what we find. Organisations generally do not have, are not resourced with a dedicated, at least in the Australian market, not dedicated with an EB manager or similar. So it's generally a hybrid between HR and marketing, or it is in fact the HR and talent team. So thank you for participating in that. We'll remove that poll and we'll bring one back a little bit later on. So what does a great career site look like? Each career site looks different, as it should, but the most successful ones have similar components and makeup, building blocks that are used. And we're going to break that down today. If you look at Travel and Leisure here, the example on screen, they have a great careers site. It's real photos of real people in the organisation. It's not generic stock imagery. And they're outlining key reasons why someone will want to join the company. So go where opportunity meets adventure is not something someone thought up on a whim. It's conveying opportunity, adventure, and safety were key for them during the pandemic, given the nature of their business. And so they understood that about the talent and then used the site to communicate that. But it's also true that leading organizations start with the end in mind and define success. Now, I would say when you're looking at a career site and looking at revamping it, we're having a lot of these conversations with our clients. Don't try and do absolutely everything at once. Don't try and cater to every single possible audience. It is about focusing the effort on the vital 20% that will make 80% of the difference. So for you as an organization, that might be high volume, always on roles, or it might be critical, hard to fill talent segments, or a combination of both, or particular campaigns that you run seasonally, all these sorts of options. But it's about focus. It's about deciding on that focus rather than trying to cater to everything. And then baseline, what does it take us currently to recruit those cohorts in recruiter effort, time to fill, cost of hire, cost of vacancy can be a big one as well. All these metrics, we would expect to see improvement in deploying the right careers site and brand strategy. So it's about defining that baseline so that you can then measure improvement on that. And as you can imagine, any successful career site starts with great content. The goal is to optimize top of funnel, or we talk about it as pre-apply. So an ATS, you know about candidates when they click apply. This is pre-apply. How do we build that relationship and optimize top of the funnel engagement and empower candidates to opt in? Doing that well is how we start to leverage that statistic of candidates that revisit are 4 times more likely to go on and get hired than those who apply on first visit to our site. It's about applying that marketing approach in addition to traditional recruiting metrics that we use, with the concepts of lead, auto nurture, and conversion. So borrowing tools and techniques from the world of marketing, meaning that we can scale top of funnel engagement without heavily investing in additional resource, headcount, etc. A lot of organizations now are doing more with less. So allowing the system and the candidate to drive decisions that deliver higher engaged talent, the right engaged talent through to application. And this starts to increase the conversion of quality talent through to apply and promote your EV and employer brand. So rather than, as I said earlier, thinking of your careers site as a section or just a job listing page that's separate to or secondary to, or just a little offshoot of the main corporate site, your careers site is exactly that. It is a complete immersive website in and of itself that offers a consumer grade end-to-end experience to match. So without further ado, let's get into some of that consumer grade experience and specific elements of your career site that drive a fantastic experience when used together. And surprisingly, perhaps, I'm starting on jobs. Now, the reason that I'm starting on jobs is because, yes, it's from the traditional approach to you know, some organizations, when I say, what's your careers site, they respond accordingly with a description of their job listing. So that can be all a careers site is in certain circumstances. I would argue, though, that is a job listing. And it's about so much more than that, which is what we're covering off over the course of our session today. But I'm starting here because it is still the primary driver of traffic to a career site. That is a fact. We know that from our data. Most candidates come through the site and land on a job page, 85% of visitors, not your homepage. So it's fantastic to have a homepage because you want to start capturing those revisits, okay? But the first touch is a job page. So what are your job pages saying about you right now? It's about making sure that we're putting our best foot forward at that first touch, at that first interaction. Whether this job's right for me, how do we make it a fantastic experience? Because that's what people land on first. So in terms of best practice here, making sure that job ads are SEO optimized. Technology can do this out of the box. Our platform definitely does, so that they beat out other channels, other job posting platforms, and they come through to your career site as that primary option to apply for a job, so that you are building direct engagement rather than relying on paid advertisement. That said, if they come through a paid advertisement, give them a great experience when they start to engage direct with your site, so that you don't have to do a paid advertisement next time. You have that relationship with people directly. Serving up job suggestions based on their browsing history on your site. So dropping a cookie on their browser, enable it. We've all done it on an online shopping site. We get cookie consent, we say yes, and then we get served up more relevant content. This is about applying those tools to job seeking behavior and recruitment. Having proximity search to things like jobs near me. So I can, if this job is not right for me, how do I find others that are around me? And AI recommended jobs to talent as well. But we can take it a step further, and we can put a whole range of other things around a job. The whole approach with jobs should be to expand our choice beyond the binary decision we have traditionally provided talent. Traditionally, we have said either this job isn't right and you go backwards, or this job is right and you apply. That's the choice. And so it's about providing all of these other opportunities for people to engage. So it could be top 5 FAQs on the recruitment process for this particular job type. So targeting the whole page that is relevant for a job type in a scalable solution means that automatically, if the job is in Melbourne or Sydney, there could be different FAQs based on the location of that job. And the right tech will help you do that. So scaling a targeted experience to talent. Employee stories. So having a blogging engine, we're going to talk more about blogs a bit later. Sharing your diversity culture, a day in the life video, or curated reviews from Glassdoor, and embedding those on your pages for relevant talent segments. But it's about being able to target these things to a particular audience rather than one size fits all. Again, following that 80-20 rule. Okay, so not trying to target everyone with a niche piece of content, but targeting those critical job families or always on roles. So job listings are key. Next up is more broadly content and design. Now, a successful recruitment marketing strategy starts with great content. That means an on-brand site that delivers a personalized candidate experience, allows candidates to make that educated decision. Is this organization right for me? And then ultimately, when I find the right role, is that right for me? Content engages visitors and then gets them interested. So it's starting to, they start to have that first touch, and then it's building awareness and engagement of you as an employer of choice, so that we're top of mind at that point where it counts in their ultimately buying decision as a job seeker, if you think of it like that. So using images and video content that is authentic, using actual images of real people, as we saw on Travel and Leisure and some examples here, using engaging video content where it counts, and importantly, having the analytics behind all of this to understand if it's working or not. It's great to be able to target a message to a segment, but then understanding and optimizing is part two, and how you deliver ongoing success rather than just a great rebrand or design. So focusing on some key content examples here, a homepage. So first off, it's about having a consumer grade experience. It's about this holistic site approach for careers. It's a site in and of itself that is branded, is pixel perfect to the consumer brand or variation for the employer brand, of course. Photos and content included, very much on brand. We've got some examples here on screen of Hammond Care, very much conveying the type of work they do. Similarly, and quite different, Flight Centre conveying that. But you can see it's completely branded and targeted. And then it's about going beyond that to particular segments. Do we want to showcase some content around audiences or segments that we know we want to appeal to? Now, that could be key talent segments. It could also be representing businesses differently, divisions of our organization, or in fact, diversity, equity, inclusion content and the like. Other types of content we might want to be considering are blogging, and specifically here referring to diversity blogging, but blogging in general. And with diversity, we have 39% of candidates that won't proceed with an application due to a perceived lack of inclusiveness in the organization. So diversity blogging is key at the moment. But as an aside, it is a good idea to build relationships with other publishers in the business when it comes to blogging. So having a tool that can deliver the content, but getting the content. Often organizations will have other publishers of content, marketing and communications, corporate affairs, and the like. You can lift and shift that content either manually or with the right tool electronically to plug that in. So if they post, it posts on your pages as well, and is another way to engage talent in what's going on in the organization. And if publishing content is daunting, it shouldn't be. It's more about, I often get asked, what sort of, content calendar should we have? How often should we be posting? I think it's more about meaningful content at the right time rather than forcing a piece of content on a set agenda. So yes, it's good to have a plan, but it's also about making sure that it's meaningful and high value to the audience rather than filling something for the sake of it. And then if we've got all this great content, do we know what's working? Where should we be focusing next? We've got finite resources in the team, in our budget. What should we build another brand video? Should we be changing our sourcing strategy? Understanding every visitor's behavior on your site, the funnel of visitor on the site all the way through to hide and everything in between is critical. And you can't get that if you have a careers site over here and an ATS over here that aren't talking to each other at the applicant and job level. So you need that optic to understand whether a strategy is working or not. If someone visits from an organic Facebook post we made, did we get or groups of people come through, did we get high quality of shortlist? The right marketing tool should be able to tell you that before you even have to wait till people are getting hired. What is the quality of shortlist of visitors from a particular Facebook post we made? And what is the behavior of those people in between? Is this initiative, content, source of traffic, whatever it is this activity giving us a quality shortlist, giving us high quality of hire? Sure, the system can scale a lot of content. So AI and machine learning can be used to scale targeting of content to talent through the website. But this is about focusing that effort on the 20% of activity that's going to count the most. And so we can use these insights to do that, even down at the content block level. So the last piece is in this section is around visuals and branding. So branding and design should be consistent across the site. That goes without saying. Then it's about inspiring belief in your employer brand and a willingness to engage. So the human brain can process visuals at a rate 60,000 times faster than words. So a picture says 1,000 words. I think this stat is saying a picture says 60,000 words. I don't know. I'll leave the math with you, but the inclusion of visual content can help the accompanying information remain in their mind, but visuals are critical. So making sure that we are cutting through with the right visual experience and being top of mind when the right talent and the right opportunity align. So that's content and design. Now we're going to focus on call to actions. Now this is a marketing term, very much a marketing term, or CTA. This is the hook that get people into your talent pipelines, your talent community, and ultimately into your CRM. So a CTA encourages people to enter their details regardless of whether they need to apply for a job or not. So we're not, again, it's about choice. It's about, hey, let's stay in touch. Hey, join our talent community. A chatbot pops up and says, register for our talent pipeline or talent audiences. That could be a button, it could be a link, it could be asking them their email in exchange for a free download. Again, tools from the world of marketing, and B2B, B2C marketing, but applied in recruitment. So you might have a PDF download that provides an asset to a graduate on their job hunt, and so you could get them to register before providing that gated content, or registering to be on an email list. So one of the bonuses I would suggest is consider adding what we call an exit call to action to your careers site. So an exit call to action doesn't just pop up, it doesn't just sit as a block on a page that I have to scroll down to or get to. They are useful for registration of interest, etc. An exit actually pops up when you go to leave the website. So one of our clients, Bendigo Adelaide Bank, you can see the example here on screen. Within the first few months of going live with this capability, they had details from 400 people who they would have not known about at all. So they would have had no relationship with these people. They were then able to engage and nurture them and have been able to hire many of those into the organization since, as a result of a seemingly very simple form that also had a marketing nurture workflow through the tool behind it to stay in touch with these people. So call to action forms are key to providing people the ability to, or you, the ability to build relationship with talent without the need to force them to apply for a job. then moving on into targeted landing pages. These are distinct from your job landing pages, which we talked about, the enhanced job descriptions, providing that choice and the tailored targeted experience there. Landing pages are more other pages that sit within your careers site designed to target specific talent segments. So here, Equinix, the example on screen, Equinix have a product and technology landing page that they can drive people to from external sources, organic post on Twitter, on Facebook, maybe a particular ad they're taking out for a targeted segment on LinkedIn, driving people back. All those sources can, of course, be tracked as per the analytics that we've already started to touch on throughout the course of the session today. But it means that we're targeting the message to the right audience. In this page, I'm not obviously scrolling down live in the presentation today, but there's video content, there's recommended blogs, and right down the bottom, there is a current listing of jobs. But the primary call to action throughout the course of the page is yes, there's begin job search, but there's also register for our talent network. And so this can be extended to a whole range of different use cases with landing pages: diversity, equity, inclusion, meet the team, culture pages. So there's the Bendigo and Adelaide Bank example on the right, having different elements of content being presented to talent. There are different use cases for career sites and pages. Some of our clients use these targeted landing pages for women in STEM, so in particular industry segments, or for LGBTQI+ targeted pages, the ability to target those to the right audience. So again, it's that, what is that shop front that we are displaying? What are the audiences that we're looking to engage with? So that's targeted landing pages. If we move across then to microsites, microsites are slightly different. So if you've got the right career site tech, it should be able to spin up microsites as well really easily. These are self-contained targeted experiences that sit as part of your career site, but have very specific audiences and a unique look and feel. So visually, they sit apart from the overall career site experience. So clients often use these for graduate campaigns, for alumni and ex-employee talent networks, and even internal talent networks. So being able to craft a wholly unique experience, still on the same platform, but a wholly unique visual experience and process for those targeted audiences. So it'd be great if we can actually do a quick poll here, again in the Q&A section, for organizations that are or are not using microsites. If you want to just share if you are or are not. Wow, it's almost neck and neck. I'm anticipating that it is actually quite close. There you go. But a lot of organizations, there we go. It was even to begin with, but not using microsites is winning out there. So thanks for participating. So double the number of current votes not using microsites to those that or in excess of that than those that do. So it is a real example. As you mature, I think the right platform needs to grow with you, starting with your job landing pages, starting with some key calls to action and automated nurture at scale to talent. And then it's about, okay, we've got all this running at scale. What are the key talent segments that we want to run these proactive campaigns for? So a couple of other examples here. We've got, Flight Centre, they use our tool for alumni, engaging pictures of alumni. They actually use the tool to capture alumni stories and employee stories, and then promote those to the same audience. So it's kind of 360 crowdsourcing of particular authentic content that conveys the employer value proposition through the best source of that, which is our people or ex-employees, and allows them to choose to, obviously the intent of alumni is either people return with enthusiasm or at least leave with a passion for the brand and the industry and choose to do something else, but maintaining those relationships. So that can be a wholly separate experience, look and feel for talent. And some of our other clients use that for internal, but then on the bottom of this page, we've got Bank of Ireland using this for an entirely separate graduate microsite. So spinning these up ad hoc, they might persist over long periods. They might be for a short campaign if your business opens a new business arm, acquires another organization, whatever that is, but that immediate uptick required an investment in sourcing strategy for a particular talent segment to deliver business outcomes. That's a key application of microsites. All right, so that's been a deep dive in some of the applications of how organizations craft their career sites and some of the building blocks they use for that. Now it's time for a little bit of DIY, and if you've got your note taking or you want to screenshot this one. This will be kind of blow by blow some of the elements that we've been through today, and the approach that we would recommend taking to if you're embarking on revisiting elements of or your entire career site. So before you start rebuilding, it's important to stop and think, what are the outcomes? What do we want? What are we trying to achieve? We started the call talking about key talent segments and targeting on those, considering the problems that you're trying to solve or candidates that you're trying to attract. Often the customers that we talk to are often trying to meet one or more of the following. I want to amplify my employer brand, attract more qualified talent. I want to attract more diverse candidates, looking to engage alumni or ex-employee talent, particularly over the past 18 months. We've seen a big increase in that. And that delivers a lot of bottom line business benefit, bringing people back into the organization rather than needing to retrain as well. Or I'm looking to build internal talent networks and leverage internal talent mobility. Knowing what you're trying to achieve will then help you define those target talent segments and personas. What are those audiences? What are their interests? If I use an example from one of our clients, APM, that you can see their career site on the screen, they're an Australian health and disability care organisation. They've done a great job drilling into the target talent segments and creating a website that speaks to those individuals with specific content, blogs, photos, video content that is specifically designed. And they undertook detailed research before building that career site, so that they knew that investment was going to deliver the right content to the right people. Step 3 is about, of course, defining your employer brand. That's critical. If you don't understand what the audience wants, you won't get the outcome. The technology is typically an enabler, but it's important to ensure you know the messages that are going to convert. So what are the benefits, values, EVP our candidates find important? What would appeal, and it's obviously diverse across a range of talent segments. It's not one size fits all for an organization. Continuing to keep it authentic is key, as we've heard a number of times today. And then once you've got a clear image of those people, work on crafting stories that actually appeal to those people. Bendigo and Adelaide Bank as well did a great job of conducting market research in order to determine what their candidates look like for ideal candidates for key talent segments and personas. Step 4, auditing your current content. You would be surprised in a lot of organization what content already exists that may be available to be repurposed. But it's about auditing what you do have and then working out what you need. So photos, videos, blog posts, etc. It's not always about starting from scratch, leveraging things from the corporate website. Key company differentiator, stats, blogs, videos, etc. We have the APM example here with some people stories they captured as well. I spoke about Flight Centre who use the tool to publish people stories. It's a great source of content and low barrier compared to, because it's authentic and it's making it easy to gather that and crowdsource that, rather than having to write a piece of content from scratch that is less authentic. Step 5 is about deciding on look and feel. So videos and images are critical. We heard we process, as humans, we process visual content 60,000 times faster than words. So just showcases how critical visual is. And that's why it's important to take the time to create, collate, and publish those images that set that right tone and tell that story. So offer a window into what day in the life of is. We've got that example here with Hammond Care's website as well. I'm going to keep moving in the interest of time. I'm conscious we're needing to make sure we cover off a few other items. What information, step 6 is what information a candidate's looking for. So we've talked about crafting the messages that will appeal to a particular audience, but it's about what are they really looking for? Do we have those types of content on our site? We know from research and experience, potential candidates are looking for real life stories of people, culture and values, benefits, things like remote working in the right context, flexible working arrangements, DE&I commitments, day in the life of, leadership and mission and values, etc. Core pages we know should be, what is our homepage? What do those job search and job landing pages look like? What blog styling are we applying? Allowing candidates to manage their own data is critical. I saw a comment around accessibility as well. Charlotte, I think you popped that in the chat. That's critical too, as an aside, making sure that your site is accessible and available for anyone to access. Talent network pages as well, so there's target talent segments, and that's where additional career sites. So we've got core in the middle here on the slide, but then we've got additional career site pages, meeting the team, culture pages, a specific diversity inclusion page, departmental landing pages like Equinix example that I showed earlier, and then maybe location focused landing pages or business focused landing pages. The right tool and site should be able to cater to that. Step 7, adding those call to actions. So a call to action is critical to engage talent without forcing them to apply. If there's nothing else you take away today, that would probably be one of my big ones to call out, is how are we providing people the ability to engage with our brand without them needing to apply for a job? Where is that opportunity for people? And then second, how do we communicate to them? Capturing that engagement, building direct relationships so that we don't need to go and post out to Seek and Indeed and wherever else we're posting and pay for a whole range of different sourcing channels, but we can actually go direct to that person that we're building that relationship with. And how do we do that at scale? So an example might be join our talent network or join our talent community, register interest. Apply now is an example of a call to action. Subscribing to job alerts, or that exit call to action. Someone's landed on your site, job's not right for them, they go to hit the back button, pop up in front of them and say, let's stay in touch. And as I said, part 2 of this is, what do you do with that information and how do you leverage it? And finally, last step is tracking and measuring. So we've got people going through our website. Once you've created an intelligent careers site, it's about understanding which content and effort that we've invested is converting. So last poll for today is if we can jump across the Q&A section, whether you do or do not track the content that people are interacting with on your careers site. So if you do, that might be something like Google Analytics potentially, or some other analytics tool. If you do not, obviously share that with us. Just be good to get an insight into how many people are tracking content interactions. So typically with an ATS, you will see source of application and you'll be able to see where people are coming through from. But then it will be things like Google Analytics or marketing platforms that give you the insight into the candidate browsing behavior across the site, understanding page flows and individual content interactions with tiles and videos, etc. So from the poll there, it seems like a few people are not tracking, but a lot of people are tracking the content on their careers site. That's fantastic. You want to make sure that you're able to easily see all movement across your site. And the right tool will frame this up in terms of a job and candidate funnel. So visitors to my site end up converting to jobs, end up at a quality shortlist. So one page that I can look at and I can see that entire conversion funnel. And that's something that our tool excels in. Either on the PageUp ATS or any other ATS, we can sit on the front of that and give you visibility from visitors that convert into registrations. They don't have to apply. And then when they apply, where they end up in a recruitment process and ultimately get hired, so that you can then apply that concept. Is this video converting people quality through my pipeline of a job into an application, into a shortlist that's quality, into a hire? Is this campaign that we're running and that Facebook tile versus the organic post on Facebook, is that converting as well? So very important to have that analytics so that you can inform your future decision making. So that brings me to the end of today's session with a couple of minutes to spare. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you found that useful. If you want, you can, when we go back into the breakout tables area, we have a free ebook available on proactive hiring strategies in the top left. Just click on the PageUp icon and follow the prompts there. I'll also be on the couches there for a few moments if you want to chat between now and the next session as well. And you can visit our website, of course, to find out more.
Thank you so much, Sam. That was terrific. And there was a discussion going on in the chat around accessibility for people that may be visually impaired, or I was given an example recently of someone with multiple sclerosis who can't use a mouse, so has to do everything verbally. What accessibility options do PageUp Recruitment Marketing offer?
Yeah. So I've seen Scott was commenting in the chat, I think, around WCAG 2.1, accessibility standards, etc. So absolutely, we endeavour to build all candidate-facing experiences as accessible. So we've completed a VPAT for those in the know. That will make sense. Acronyms everywhere, but we've definitely undertaken those assessments to make sure that we're providing those accessible experiences. I think the other thing and we can have those conversations in more detail and provide that information to the right parties in organizations, of course. The other thing to think about is ensuring that things like videos have captioning and a whole range of alt image tagging and all these sorts of things are important to think about on your career site. And those sorts of standards have those criteria, but it's not just about the technology you use, it's actually the content that you put out there as well.
Yeah. And just for everyone's knowledge, Recite.me is a group that create accessible websites. They are now here in Australia. I've been chatting to them. We are going to do something on accessibility and disability in 2022. It'll probably be a virtual event, so I can capture you all. And given that you all love the platform so much, I'm sure you'll all come and join us again. I'm just going to turn the presentation off for a couple of minutes and just allow you to take a deep breath, but we will be pretty much coming back on in 2 minutes. So grab a cuppa extra quick and have a chat with Sam on the Page Up couch. Each of the vendors have downloads under the couch areas. So if you're looking for stuff, go there.
No worries. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sam. You were brilliant.
Cheers. Thanks, Andrea.
You already said thanks straight away, didn't you?